next final speaker is Ernie Moss from Cloverland Electric Company, and I got to step in and say that Dan Dasha was the original speaker, and Ernie has agreed to, and I asked him how much time do you need, and he said, thank you, Council. And he said, just give me as much you have left. So, Ernie, thank you for stepping in for Dan, and we appreciate you coming.
All right. Thank you, Kim. I'll adjust this microphone. Apparently we have some vertically challenged people here. So. Thank you. Thank you, UPEDA. Yeah, filling in for Dan. I says, Dan, what are we supposed to talk about? And this was yesterday. He says, well, I don't know, just kind of wing it, you know. So I don't have any pretty slides or PowerPoints or anything like that, but I'm supposed to talk about, I think, the premier renewable resource, and that's hydro. But before we get to that, I'll give you a little background about myself. Director of Engineering Operations at Cloverland Electric, as Kim pointed out. Been with Cloverland for 2.5 years. Prior to that, I was with Edison Sioux for 26.5 years. Yes, I am that old. Used to have red hair, right, Jeff? Some of my work experiences, there's been a variety of them at Edison Sioux. But I installed the first SCADA system, and you're going, oh my God, this guy's going to talk all these acronyms now and bore us to death. It's a fancy computer that operates the transmission, not anymore, Brett, I know, distribution in our hydro plant. I installed that back in the mid-'80s. Then we moved on to automating the Edison Sioux, at that time, hydro plant. Finished that, that was from '88 to '93. That allowed us to do a number of things with improving the efficiencies of the turbines and utilizing the amount of water we were allocated by the IJC, International Joint Commission, an esteemed body of 2 Canadians, 2 Americans that determine how much water is released from the Lake Superior Basin region, and they do that every month. And we put that amount of water, after we divvy up certain amounts for the Corps of Engineers, into a fancy algorithm software program, and that determines what units in our hydro plant. How many have ever been at our hydro plant? Well, the rest of you should get there. We have an open house the last Friday in June every year, Engineers Day. You get to go through our plant, plus you get to go over to the locks at the Sioux Locks here. So, where was I? Oh, algorithm. You plug that value into the program, and it determines, based on what the forebay level, tail race level of the hydro plant is, how much water has been allocated, the time of month, and it knows the efficiencies, because we did an indexing study through the University of Minnesota, as to what units operate the most efficient for a given amount of water, given amount of head. Head is the amount of water that will fall. How far does the water fall from the forebay to the tail race? So it massages that number throughout the month, maximizes the output of our plant based on our power needs. We do not have enough water to operate our plant 24/7. I'd love to see that happen. That hasn't happened. Well, Brett, when was the last time that happened? It's been a long time. I'd like to see it rain, 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 rain forever. We're down about 9 inches in the Lake Superior Basin region. The lower lakes are down 20-some inches, I think. It's a long ways down, which causes other problems on our system. Probably getting too technical, and I'm probably running out of time. There's draft tubes. Again, another reason why you should go to the hydro plant and have a tour. There's draft tubes on the tail race side of our plant. When it was built at the turn of the century, completed in 1902, these draft tubes were put down into the tail race, the lower St. Mary's River, at an elevation of 577 feet above sea level. Guess what? Occasionally right now, because the lower lakes are so low, that exposes the ends of those draft tubes. We lose hydraulic ability in our turbine unit, and our plant swings all over the map because it lost its hydraulics, and that's what you need for when the water falls down through the turbines. That creates issues. We talked about this a number of years ago, only it was a different situation. So, anyways, we're probably getting close to running out of time. And I know I stand between you guys and happy hour. This is a bad situation for me. I'm sure you might have some questions. We're all available here. Ask right now if you want. Any questions right now of me?
Power is done.
Depends on the time of day. Depends what the algorithm wants to do. The plant is rated for a little over 40 megawatts. Well, what's that? It's hard to get your handle around that. Right now, it's probably operating this time of day, probably right around 12 megawatts. Half of a megawatt, so you get an idea of what that is, half of a megawatt would provide power to the big Walmart store. That gives you a better idea of how much power is consumed in a Walmart with all the refrigeration, lighting, everything else that's going on. And there's 74 turbines, no, 74 generators in that plant, and there's 2 times that for turbines. They're Camelback type turbines, 2 turbines per generator. Another reason you should go in that plant and take a tour. It's a very fascinating building, and the facilities inside that are even more fascinating if you're an engineer.
And how many folks did you have there last year for your open house?
6,000 plus, yeah. Yeah, and I think we sold 12,000 hot dogs. We didn't sell them, we gave them away.